This delayed video is fan art for the Dungeons & Dragons stream that's on Twitch. You can also watch the episodes later on YouTube called High Rollers D&D. This is Scaldy, a primarily helpful character who's an NPC played by the Dungeon Master. This is for their second campaign called Erois, which is on its own original world that the Dungeon Master created. She's a very helpful character, well, primarily helpful, and she was originally contacted to preserve the body of a recently fallen party member named Sentry. As a price for further help, she became a quest giver, and the party was meant to deal with a danger in a dungeon nearby. A very interesting dungeon, which was basically a giant robot spaceship with various undead in it. The boss was a very badass, mysterious creature who looked something like a woman, who served a destructive monstrosity known as Hadar. Sadly, this quest ended in the death of another PC. Out of guilt, she then accompanied the players on the road to seek resurrection for now 2 players rather than 1. In the last episode that just happened, this Sunday, we said goodbye to her, not because she died, but because she separated from the party. The players had an option to teleport, and Scaldy did not wish to leave her home nation and travel so very far, as they had just, in the previous episode, resurrected the original character Sentry they had sent on a quest for. Scaldy was no longer needed, or really appropriate at that point, to continue traveling with the party. I very much appreciate Scaldy's character for several reasons, and she was helpful and very needed considering there were no healers left in the party, and they really needed someone with some healing magic to travel with them. In general, I find it's okay to play whatever players you want in a party, but there's a couple roles that it's extremely difficult to do without. The healer being the hardest of all, and the rogue, which I believe to be the second most difficult party member to do without when playing Dungeons & Dragons. At any rate, Scaldy is an interesting gothic cleric of a death goddess who in general is quite a nice person and is very helpful. She sort of also functions as an additional guide to the land of Merskir, the region the players found themselves teleported into with the body of their fallen companion, after a very interesting series of dire straits and unlikely events had occurred. I find this campaign very interesting. I very much enjoy the Dungeon Master in the world, although sometimes I'm a bit annoyed by the players' untactical and illogical choices. In general, they seem to focus on role-playing a little more than tactics, whereas I feel the worst thing for role-playing is a dead player, and the best thing for a good tactical game like Dungeons & Dragons is to focus on a combination of tactics and role-playing. As I said, the thing that gets the most in the way of role-playing is a dead character, so focus on tactics when you're in combat, and focus on role-playing when you're out of combat. Try not to be too much of a detriment to your party. This next character is also an NPC from the same campaign, and in fact debuted in the same episode as Scaldy, episode 28, From Beyond the Cradle. A quirky broken-horn tiefling, Veskin Deskit Galloway, hope I got the name right, was a fun encounter in a dark time. I do hope we may see him again someday. His hair and eye color were not described, but I decided to paint him with his eyes closed anyways for this happy picture. Come to think of it, Scaldy's skin tone and eyes were not actually described, at least not initially when I went back to check. I ended up going with what I pictured, which was also for maximum goth contrast. Anyway, overall the DM, Mark Sherlock Humes, describes things very well. I just seem to want extreme descriptions when I plan to do fan art and for my own personal enjoyment. At any rate, Veskin was a flirtatious, interesting, sexy man whose inn called The Traveller was a stone building, most of which was inside the side of a hill, with a sign that had a hooded figure in a cloak on a road. All the furniture inside was very mismatched and unique. It was also filled with curios and knickknacks of all description. The walls also featured many paintings of Veskin, many with 2 horns and a few where he had only 1. All in various levels of skill. He was encountered in one other episode after this original episode, and brought much needed levity on both occasions. His patterned blue, green, and silver shirt, which I decided to go more turquoise with, was described as being simply patterned, so I had to decide the patterns for myself. I went with 2 different patterns in the end. I really do recommend High Rollers to anyone looking for a Dungeons & Dragons stream, maybe even if they're just looking for another one. The Dungeon Master, world building, and overall game are very, very good, yet I always wish for more tactical play from the players. RP is fine, but everyone remember, player character death is the biggest blocker to role-playing, so I encourage everyone to use great tactics in support of and in tandem with great role-playing. They are friends and not mutually exclusive. Once again, I'm sorry that this video was so delayed. I'm going to post it now and aim for another one this week. I was just having a bit of trouble last week. So Valerios, please consider subscribing if you enjoy my videos, and if you do, click that notification bell for post notifications. I do aim for a new video every Wednesday, but it is sometimes delayed. Please feel free to leave any questions, comments, suggestions, constructive criticisms in the comment section below. And please like this video if you enjoyed it. It does help my channel out. Thank you very much. Goodbye.